It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
I want to play a game.
Hello and welcome to the Sounds from the Grave podcast. My name is Yussef.
And my name is Vania.
And we don't all go bleh bleh bleh.
So, as you guys can realize from our quotes, we are doing something a little bit different today. We are doing a more kid-friendly horror theme this week, and we actually have our first guest ever on this podcast.
Yes, we do, and we're very excited. So please welcome to the show, Patty.
Hi! Yes, I'm very random.
We are happy to have you here, and we're very excited to discuss some kid-friendly horror movies and TV shows.
I'm so excited to be here.
So, so I'm not sure what our first order of business should be, I guess, just to kind of do a little housekeeping before we get into it, I believe. So, couple big news, I think, in like the actual horror community right now. Um,
Ooh.
at least two big ones. The first one being that Hulu picked up rights to Hellraiser.
Very nice, very
Oh.
nice.
Yeah, so they announced that they will be making a Hellraiser TV series as well as a reboot. So
That makes me
that's
curious to see how that comes out.
yeah, I'm very curious as well. I really like the Hellraiser movie. I've only seen the first one and like one of the really bad Netflix ones. So I don't really know that much about it, but I'm interested in seeing what they do with it.
I saw the old ones. And I think that was about it. Yeah.
Hmm. And then our other big announcement is they have officially confirmed and announced that we are getting a new Evil Dead movie.
Another one?
Ooh.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell is going to be back for this one too.
Oh, interesting. No, because
Yeah.
I mean, I like the remake. I think the remake was kind of perfect, not gonna lie, but like another one, like.
Yeah, I think it's just like so many people were just asking for it at this point.
Well, it's the
Is it like
Evil
the
Dead. They don't really
continuation?
die.
I'm not sure what they're going to be doing with it. Literally, all they've announced is that Bruce Campbell is in it, and they announced the name of it, which is going to be The Evil Dead Rise, and it's going to be
Okay.
exclusive to HBO Max.
All right, well, I can see that then, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, it is 100 days officially. Well, it was 100 days yesterday until Halloween Horror Nights, so that's also exciting.
Oh yes.
So yeah, we are so excited for this year. Halloween Horror Nights 30, Never Go Alone. Oh my gosh, I know. Like the title, the little subtitles, the cringy, but hey, they got to do something with
That's what
the
I was
die age
thinking.
we got. So yeah.
It's a pretty bad title this year, but I don't care. We're still getting a Horror Nights this year, so that's really all that matters.
Absolutely.
All
I
right,
agree.
so I think we have covered a couple good things here. So I think we're ready to begin. So we kind of broke it up into three groups here. So we have our animated kid-friendly movies that have horror elements in them, and then we're going to do our live-action ones, and then we're going to do our TV shows.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So
Yep.
since Patty is our guest, I believe she should have the first horror movie that we're going to be talking about on here.
Well, I would have to go with Hotel Transylvania. Just because that was like the first thing that got my kids really into it. I'm a horror freak. And you wouldn't, it's like a normal adult. I'm not normal, but you wouldn't like put the kids to watch horror movies. So I'm like, well, let me start with this one. I love Adam Sandler and the whole monster themes and actually having like a hotel just for monsters. And I ended up watching it every single day. Every day it was like nonstop. But luckily, I love this movie. And one thing I really do love about it is Mavis and her father. It really does remind me a lot about you, Vanya. That's you and your dad.
Yeah, I mean, me and my dad definitely resonate a lot with Mavis and Dracula
Yeah,
because
you
Oh no.
guys are straight up a real life Mavis and Dracula.
yeah, we because my dad raised me upon horror, and it's just like Hotel Transylvania is always like a movie dear to my heart because of that relationship I have with my dad. And not only that, Hotel Transylvania has more than just one movie. They have three and a fourth one coming out this summer, which is very exciting. Um,
Oh God, yes.
so the theme is actually gonna be that Dracula totally doesn't actually like approve of Johnny, and then like Johnny is trying to turn himself into a monster, but then it turns into a Freaky Friday type of scenario.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Oh,
Yeah, if you guys watch the trailer, that's what the movie will be about.
Yeah,
oh,
I'm
damn! I
definitely
gotta watch.
yeah, I do too. I haven't seen the trailer yet. I just remember seeing the title card for it, like the name of it, but I didn't see the trailer.
Yeah,
Same.
it's very cute.
Yeah, I funny enough, I didn't really know that much about with the movie itself when it came out. The only thing I remember that caught my attention was Adam Sandler as Dracula, and I was like, okay, that's new.
Definitely
Right.
something out of his comfort zone for sure. Like I
Yeah.
didn't see. Well, not only is it an Adam Sandler movie, but the fact that he also starred in it with like Selena Gomez. I'm surprised that Selena Gomez is also still going through the franchise as well. So like
Oh yeah.
that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, so like that was one of the big things that caught my attention. And also when I found out the director, it was Gendy Tartakovsky. And this guy essentially built most of our childhoods because he was the guy who created Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Lab, and Samurai Jack.
That's why they're so good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because they definitely have like that cartoony kind of 90s vibe to them.
It's our childhood in a horror, like kid friendly movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. Because like it's really cool too because it does take, like the animated stuff that's like for kids, but it also includes the stuff that's mostly, for adults. So like it isn't one of those movies that's like, oh, it's just for the kids. Like it's a family movie really.
Oh yes. I'll never get tired of it.
I mean,
Especially the blood, the blood.
like I always want to just like Hotel Transylvania is probably one of those comfort movies where I could just binge them all, and then there's a fourth one. Now I'd be good at. I would be so set, so set. Just hours of Hotel Transylvania sign me up.
Yeah, I need to
I
go back and rewatch the second and third one because I've only seen those once as opposed to the first one. The first one I've seen like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah,
got you
me
beat.
too.
But yeah, like we definitely got to talk about some of our favorite scenes too, because I think one of my favorites, if not my favorite scene, at least from the first one, is like the pool party where they jump into like I think it was like the Jello
God, yes.
Was that the first movie or was
yeah, that was in the first one. Like when they go to the pool and everybody's like super
okay?
bored because they're doing like water aerobics, and she's like, "Oh, let's turn up the party."
Oh yeah, that I remember. Yeah, yeah,
What
That was
about
a good scene.
yeah? What about your guys' favorite scenes?
yeah.
I really do not have a favorite scene, but I did find it fun how when they were like setting up the ballroom, I guess it was, they were just riding on the tables. Just it was just hilarious, and it was so fun how they were just bonding, just flying on tables. I was like, damn, I wish I could do that.
For me, is the party scene at the end where Mavis finally kisses Johnny. Because the reason why is because that scene is so like colorful. I'm a sucker for like animated movies that are just so colorful in general, and the fact that that movie is so gloomy most of the time, which is nothing wrong with that, but there is like a lot of like life to that part where like Mavis kisses Johnny, Dracula finds out, he goes to them, and then Johnny actually tells Dracula, well, Mavis, that he is a human and he wants to basically get away from her because she doesn't want Dracula to like look bad in front of his daughter. So he manned up. It was like a little moral thing. It was depressing, but he ended up coming back at the end of the movie anyway. So
Yeah, that was. I remember being like a little taken aback by that because I was like, it is kind of like that romantic comedy thing where like boy meets girl, boy falls for girl, boy has to like leave the girl for some reason, and then she has to like fight to get him back and stuff like that.
well, it's
Yeah.
more like the father went
Well,
to
yeah, that's
the
true.
human village for and they needed his help to get to Johnny, and even set himself ablaze as a bat just to get him back for his daughter. So
That's true.
super cute.
Yeah, and then I did like the whole concept of it, of like the hotel for monsters and how like all the pretty much like the universal monsters are all just friends with each other. Like they're essentially just like a squad.
The only thing that's not on there is the creatures. I mean, he's very briefly in it, but it's not like primary thing.
Yeah, he's like a guest at the
Yeah.
hotel.
Yeah.
At least they showed him for a second and just not completely ignored him.
Yeah. And then not even that, like just like outside of the main characters, just like the little side characters that had their own little thing, like the lady and the old lady and the walker that would just eat random stuff and be like, "Oh, it wasn't me."
Mm, that's like a Betty White type of character there.
Very much so, yeah, for sure.
All right. So, now that we have covered Hotel Transylvania, I think we should talk about our next animated movie. Why don't you start, Yusef?
Yes. So this movie, um, I haven't seen it in quite a bit. I do really really like this movie, and that is Coraline.
Oh,
Yeah, that movie is literally made of nightmares.
But it does, it still has like that family aspect for it. I think it's definitely a little bit more on the creepier side. So I would probably say like be with your kid when you're watching it. Also, like maybe when he's a little bit older, when they're a little bit older,
Yeah.
because they guess they might get pretty scared.
I've seen that
yeah.
movie in the total of two times, and it creeps me out every single time. I still have nightmares of the other mother.
Oof, the other mother is something else.
Yeah, so if you guys have not seen Coraline, it is basically a girl that is, has a mom and a dad in a boring world. Basically, like they move into this new house. She is bored, and like her mom never has time for her. Her dad never has time for her. They're always basically working. She basically befriends a guy named YB, and then she finds a little door in like I think it's on the wall or underneath the stairs. I don't remember. Don't quote me on that. And then she goes into another world where she finds basically her ideal mother, her ideal father, and basically it's everything she's ever wanted until they want to sew buttons into her eyes.
Yeah, it's almost like kind of like a Twilight Zone type thing when it's like a whole different parallel universe, and they're like, oh, it's the perfect world, but of course there's a lot of deep uh darkness just in the background.
It was. It was like almost like type of like those movies where someone's going through something and then they make up this whole world where it's all beautiful and amazing and then all of a sudden they're like slowly coming back to reality in a certain creepy, crazy ass way.
Yeah, it's especially, at first when you're seeing like all these amazing, like beautiful scenes of like the other world, and it's literally like who like I think it's like the other mother essentially just designed it just for her so she can like pull her in,
Hmm.
and then like you know once things start to get darker and darker, like it's definitely getting creepier, especially like the little scene when they're all at the dinner table and they just give her the box with like the buttons and they're like, "Oh, you've been here long enough. It's time to get your buttons."
Yep, lose those eyes. We need button eyes.
Yeah, I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'll just go back home and keep my regular eyes."
Yeah.
So you would prefer to go back to your boring life?
I mean, I'd rather be able to not have buttons for eyes and know that my mother is a literal monster.
This is true. But that world looks a little nice for a little, high time and but
Yep.
I wouldn't definitely prefer it. I would want to be there temporarily. If there's a free trial, I would like to sample and then after that get rid of it, but
Right. Let me sample it, but not get those button eyes, and I'm good.
Yeah, and then just like come back with like dressed up differently and let you change your hair and be like, "Oh, I'm here for the other free trial."
Yep.
yeah, and then you have to also like help find these ghosts, like I think it's their eyes or parts of their soul. I forgot that part of the movie where like they have to basically help like ghosts to be able to escape and like set their soul free. So yeah, that movie is great. Great example. We love teaching kids about the supernatural.
Well, my kids actually like it. It's my stepdaughter. She's been like, no, I don't want to watch it. She's 10. Mine are 5 and 2, and they're perfectly fine. But she's like, no, it's too scary. It's creepy. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. I'll just watch it when you go to school.
There you go. No, I remember too, like the one thing that always stuck with me is like the design of the other mother when she changes into like an actual monster, and you're like, "Ooh, that's creepy as hell."
It
Yeah,
did look really
she's
cool, though.
humongous. She's creepy. She's oh my god.
Yes, because she's like,
It's
and she gets like
made of nightmares.
yeah, she gets like super skinny and like her like skin is sunken, and you're like, "Yeah, I don't want to see that."
Yeah, so well, now that we're on the topic of horrible, terrifying kid movies, because it's supposed to be kid friendly, but not so kid friendly, let's talk about Monster House. This movie also gave me nightmares. Not for children, but hey, I mean, I think it's not for children, but I know it's made to be a kids movie. Kids who actually can handle that movie, kudos to them. Like I even have a hard time watching this movie.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like they go into a house and that shit's breathing, and then they have to deal with some fat lady named Constantine, and like who names their kid child Constantine, mind you? And yeah, like no, like I don't know, like the design of that movie is just creepy overall. I don't know if like the same people who made Monster House also made Paranorman, if you guys have seen that one.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. 'Cause they look like almost identical, design wise.
It might have been the same animation company, yeah. Yeah, Monster House. I remember my parents taking me to see that in the theater when it first came out, and I don't remember how old I was at the time. I just remember being like, "What? This is like one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen." I think I was mostly freaked out by the actual look of the kids because I was like, "Why do they look so real but also kind of fake?"
Weird. Stop confusing it with Polar Express.
Oh yeah, it was like Polar Express, but like everybody was they had like this one thing that made them different, like a specific like facial feature or something that like really stuck out. Like the main character, like he had like really big ears and but everything else about him was normal. So I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't think it comes close to Polar Express. I think Polar Express was just ahead of its time in general. But like, yeah, the designs were a little creepy. It's just the fact that they do seem real, but at the same time, like their eyes were just unnatural, and like and literally even like the character of Constantine was unnatural. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one gave me nightmares, that lady. She scared me more than the house.
But the thing that would scare me was actually the old man that used to live there.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that, dude.
Especially when when the kids think that he just died of a heart attack and they you like see them like pulling away in the ambulance. You're like, Jesus Christ, did this old man really like literally just die?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to reality, kids. People die everywhere.
Yeah, and then like just like the scenes inside the house were really creepy, and like of course they had like their little funny moments when they get to the little chandelier and the girl's like, oh, I think that if like the doors are its teeth and then the carpet is its mouth, that's got to be the uvula. And then the little kid's like, oh, so it's a girl house.
And wow, like
I remember
they,
that.
whoa, like I was like, first of all, why are you comparing it to an with for anatomy? But okay, go off.
And then what I did like about it too, I would consider it something up there with like Shrek in terms of like all like the double jokes, like the double entendres.
Yeah.
Like I remember the whole thing of like the two kids were like, "Oh, look at that," and the babysitter doesn't see anything, and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" And they're just like, "Oh, I think we just had too much Mountain Dew."
Wow. Yeah, I think I want to rewatch that movie. Like, I don't remember a lot of it, but I just remember it scared me. And yeah, so I mean, I'm probably like by the way that I've seen the movie and it's described, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the It remake. So with those kids and those innuendos and all that stuff.
I never thought of it that way, but yeah,
Yeah, I
you
see
are
it that
right.
way. Like the way that they're like comparing it to silly things, and it's like stop giving me like gazebos. It's they're like what?
Uh, that'll never get old.
Yeah.
They told me it was a gazebo.
I have to rewatch that again. I think it's on Netflix still, is it?
It might be.
think
I know
so.
for sure Coraline is. I'm not sure if Monster House is anymore.
It used to
Yeah, it
be on
was at one
Netflix for
point.
sure.
But anyway, I think it is time to move on to our next animated feature here.
And it's my favorite.
So then you should talk about this one.
It, yes.
Then so the next one we are going to be talking about is Corpse Bride. I've literally abused the ever living crap out of this DVD. And I watch it every Halloween, or I just watch it any day. I feel like it's like a comfort movie that I will never get tired of. So basically, Chorus Bride is basically about a guy who has a arranged marriage for money. Not for money because his family has money, but then they want their daughter of the other family wants to marry into rich, but then they think that they're rich, but they only like own a fish market kind of thing. And then yeah, so he messes up his vows and he's practicing out in the forest and then he puts the ring on some kind of branch looking thing and it's not a branch, it's a full on corpse. And I definitely love this movie because it is whimsical, it is amazing, it has a lot of beautiful, vibrant but very neutral dead colors, as I would like to call them, with blue, gray, blacks. A lot of good cinematic, a lot of good claymation, and basically a great story. I see myself. I resonate in Emily. I always compare myself to Emily because I felt that always being rejected. Not trying to throw shit out there, but yeah, it's an amazing movie and it's definitely up there, especially since it's like the best one having to do with like underworld stuff other than Nightmare Before Christmas, which is more underworld slash like, but it's having to do with holiday theme, basically about dead things.
Yeah, it's definitely I think one of Tim Burton's best movies. It really captures like his style and his look perfectly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it has a lot of great like quotes like can a heart stop breaking, like can a heart still break if it stops beating, kind of thing. Like that's literally one of my favorite quotes ever in that movie. Um and yeah, so I definitely love that movie. The music, there's not a lot of like good, like you know how there's a lot of iconic soundtrack to Nightmare Before Christmas. The Corpse Bride doesn't have a lot, but it definitely stands out when it does have like the Until the End of the Day, basically the song about the way that Emily had died, and also and basically like just the wedding and her little ballad that they have for her, literally simply amazing.
It was. That was a nice movie. It was more like a cute romance type thing.
Yeah, it's essentially if Tim Burton made a romance movie.
Pretty much.
Wow, y'all called me a hopeless romantic. I just gushed and y'all are like, oh, it's a good movie. I was like, wow, okay, like
I love
y'all
it though.
get off my back. Damn.
I love you.
Yeah. I mean, I am kind of a hopeless romantic, sorry.
Eh,
And I'm
we
also
all have
dying. And I'm also dying. So if you guys have noticed that I sound nasally, I have been sick, but you know, at least I was able to withstand that conversation without coughing. So I'm proud of myself.
Woohoo! You did good.
High five.
Yeah, I would also say in terms of the whole family thing, I think it's a really good way to like uh, introduce kids to in a weird way to kind of the concept of death in a
Yeah.
way of
Yeah,
like
it's a really creative way to do it, honestly.
exactly like even if these things end, there's always there's something after. There's it doesn't really end.
Yeah, like just think of when you arrive in the afterlife, there's going to be a really big party thrown for you. Because the big example about that is when the chauffeur is taking one of the I think it was Victoria's parents out like in the town for something. I forgot what it was. I'm so sorry. But he dies of a heart attack, and you see him like he suddenly turns blue. He topples over, and and then all of a sudden we see Victor. He sees that the chauffeur is there. He's like, "Oh, like what happened? Like you were alive?" And it's like, "Oh no, just kind of had a heart attack." Like it seemed like so innocent. Like like okay, this is what happened. So I feel like it's a really good way, just like Yusuf said, to introduce kids to death.
It is. So they just come out like, oh well, it's just part of life. Now I'm living my new life, my second life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's especially because you don't have like any responsibilities. You can just do whatever you want, really.
Yeah. And another thing that I thought was also clever, this is the last thing I'm going to gush about that movie. I swear that we could go to the next one. Um, and it's just like the fact that, Victor finally agrees to marry Emily. Finally getting to know her and, getting to know the real her. And then Emily's trying to, understand. And then he said, oh, if you guys are going to get married, it's like till death do us part. And she's like, okay, what's wrong with that? But what's wrong with that? She tells the guy, he's like, oh, death has already done you part because you're still dead and he's still alive. So he's gonna have to die when you guys get married. So you guys will just never have to separate. So it kind of like like throws out the idea of marriage out there to the kids, which is a little weird and death and yeah, but I thought that was also an interesting way to introduce that stuff to kids. So
Definitely interesting. That is
and the
true.
movie is hella short. To be honest, for a Tim Burton movie, it's a really hella short movie. It's not as long as Nightmare Before Christmas.
Well, even Nightmare Before Christmas is pretty short. It's like just at the 90-minute mark, but
Yeah,
barely scratching the surface.
absolutely.
I will say this though, there are certain moments where that movie gets really, really dark, and that's I think the prime moment there is the villain, like when you realize what he's done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's an asshole. I like he says the iconic quote, but he's an asshole.
Yeah, he really is just like one of the most like unlikable villains, but like in the best way of like, oh, I just can't wait for him to get like his comeuppance.
Basically, he was also trying to marry for money, you know? Basically, it just shows that, people also fall in love and marry for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Not to mention that he was, if I remember correctly, he wasn't he the one who murdered
Yeah,
uh
he murdered
Yeah.
Emily.
like jeez, dude.
Yeah, because they went under a tree to elope, and then he stabbed her. I think he ripped out her heart, and then took all the family jewels and the satchel of gold that she had. Um, and yeah, so she died, and he went away with the money and didn't just posed the death as if she died tragically out of an accident. Like, and he had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, like he was truly a despicable character.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so enough about that. Let's go to the next one.
So, Patty, would you like to introduce our next film?
Sure. I really love this one. This is like my top first, kid-friendly horror movie, even though I don't really consider it kid-friendly. I just love it in general. I don't care what it is. That would be Nightmare Before Christmas. Now, who doesn't love that movie? I'm sorry. If someone doesn't, I'd be like, what's wrong with you? Um, but basically it's like about Jack Skellington, he's the Pumpkin King. He does his job well. He's doing amazing. But at some point, he's like, there has to be more than just doing Halloween, every year, doing the same stuff every year in different ways. And while he's, wondering if there's more to life than what he's just doing, here he comes up to a forest, which is kind of weird. A forest with a bunch of doors that just teleport you. But anyway, he goes into the forest and finds these doors to all these holidays. And here comes Christmas Town. It opens its door and just like sucks him in at some point. And here he is in a brand new place that's not like what he's used to. That it is all dark horror screams. It's more laughter, cheerful, and everyone just like loves each other. So he's like, oh my God, what is this? What is this? What is this? And it's just a very unique movie. And I think it's something that we could all like relate to in a certain way.
Tired of the same garbage, same job, same day. No, I'm kidding. It's a joke. But yeah, I definitely,
Kind of, though.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's like what we're doing.
like when you reach that point in life where you're like, okay, like I feel like I've done this for so long. I'm like, there's got to be more I can do.
So that's why I feel it's like it's a movie that we can all relate to in a certain way.
Yeah, for sure. Like and like even with the other characters too, like with Sally, when like that need to be free and to be able to make your own decisions and that kind of thing.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
she definitely is a good role model for anybody that who wants to get into, well, any kid or female that wants to get into horror in a kid-friendly way. Sally's definitely a role model for that. She stands up for what she believes in. She knows right from wrong. She listens to logic, even though she hasn't, she wasn't raised in the best household where she has a controlling father, but she definitely like fights to persevere and try to like help Jack as much as possible, even though she knows she's doing the wrong thing, but she's doing it because she loves him and that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And
and
again,
she's
it's one of
always look.
those. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was like, yeah, she's always like looking out for him. And she's like that person in the background, that conscience telling you, "Hey, I'm here. Be careful. I got you though."
You're
Yeah,
doing
she.
some stupid shit, but I love you.
Yeah,
I
I
love that
think
little
the
scene
warning.
like when she built and she makes him the Santa suit, and she's at the same time she's like, I don't think this is a good idea, and he's just trying it on. He's like, I look good.
Yes.
This is wrong, Jack. Very wrong.
Meanwhile, I'm like, he says, like, look at the fit.
Yeah, not even concerned about her visions. I
Yeah,
feel like her visions were definitely tossed aside. That's the only thing that I didn't like about Jack. He was very blind to the idea of Christmas. Nothing wrong with that. It's just he could have listened to Sally's warning, so he
yeah,
didn't have to fuck up Christmas as much as he did.
yeah. Like he got so obsessed with making his own version of Christmas that he just got blinded to everything else, really.
Mm-hmm. Just
But I will
everything
say
that everyone was telling him.
exactly, yeah. And you also gotta love, outside of Jack and Sally, you have to love the other like supporting characters. Like Dr. Finkelstein, Oogie Boogie, just an amazing,
The Oogie
amazing
Boogie
character.
Boys.
You got yes, Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Like I love them so much.
Yeah, I think they started to become one of my favorite characters in the well, he's not a franchise, wow, and basically like the Tim Burton world. I think they're very unique characters, even though they believe what they're doing is right, but they also have like other schemes for their own benefits or convenience at that point. But
Mhm.
they, still very interesting characters. Very and then it's weird because I think I watched a video not too long ago about the way that I think they all died.
Oh
I
yeah,
I
that was
know
actually
that Beryl drowned. I think what was it? Shock got burned alive. I think,
I think so.
but I don't remember too much about Locke. I don't.
I I
But
think Locke
I
was literally like abused by his parents. I literally think that he just like died of like abuse,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, because Shock was the devil, Beryl was the candy loving skeleton, and then Locke was the witch.
Yeah.
Shock, Lock, and Barrel, yeah.
actually had my kids dress up as them once.
Yeah, like and not even that, just like the little it's really cute how it explains the holidays too. It's like, the people who created Halloween, they literally just live in a town that's just Halloween year round.
I think we all want to live
Mhm.
there. I mean, we'll probably turn like Jack eventually, but I think we all want to be there right now.
Yeah, I
Yes,
could take a vacation in Halloween Town.
I could stay there for
I
a long
know.
time.
But I think that is all we have to say about Nightmare Before Christmas. We are going to move on to our live action kid friendly movies now.
Woohoo.
Let's get it.
Yep. And our first one is a movie that I feel like gets a lot of hate. Um, I don't really agree with why it does, but that is the live action Haunted Mansion movie with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I definitely have some mixed feelings about it, but I still definitely like it because it was probably the only Haunted Mansion movie that we got. Um But yeah, I mean, it's not too bad if you really think about it from like a story standpoint. I just wish we saw a little bit more of the original characters based around the actual Haunted Mansion story. But I think it was Master Gracie. I don't know if he was a part of the movie. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. But yeah, the one thing I will say about that movie in the beginning is definitely cinematically beautiful. I actually based my quinceañera around the beginning part of the movie, which is a Victorian era type of house or ballroom, which is why I was influenced by the Haunted Mansion scene in the beginning where it's all gold. It's a masquerade. It's like super beautiful. And then, of course, until the death of the girl where she gets poisoned. But, things. But definitely, it's a good movie. It's still very funny. Still very, Eddie Murphy still gave it life. And, I think it's very interesting that they decided to have the main colored family. But that's a good thing. We needed a little bit more diversity in the Disney film like industry for sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't love it, but I didn't like hate the movie. I wish like it could have been a little different, maybe better, but it was bad.
Yeah, I did like the fact that I feel like it kind of kept the spirit of the movie or like the ride where like it's supposed to be like a haunted mansion, it's creepy, it's weird, but it still has like a fun little like party element to it.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely still enjoyed it regardless. I don't think they should do a remake because, Disney knowing, well, I could be wrong though, because Disney has been taking some pretty dark routes lately, so I can't speak too much about that, but we'll see.
Yeah. And
I
also
thought they were making.
not to mention Leota is played by Jennifer Tilly.
Yes.
Bay, Bay.
I will say this, if they were to do anything with Haunted Mansion like outside of the ride, I think I'd actually like to see it as a TV show where like every episode is the story of one of the ghosts of like how they ended up as a ghost.
Oh
That
yeah.
would be interesting.
Or, yeah, I can see it. I mean, I like that concept.
Because that would literally give you 999 episodes.
Yeah. But there would be like 5-minute episodes, I feel like. You know how Disney has some like short like
Yeah,
episodes
yeah,
and
for
stuff.
sure.
But they would have to like line up to 99, then
Yeah.
there's a room for 1,000. Any volunteers? Ugh.
And it'd be cool if they took like the same route that the Netflix show Love, Death and Robots takes, where like every episode is done by a different team of people, like different animators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I love that show.
But yeah, I think that's all we really have to say about Haunted Mansion. I know Vani here would love to talk about the next movie though.
The Gremlins? The Gremlins?
Yes.
Yeah, Gremlins. I love Gremlins. Um, yeah. So, yeah, the next movie I'm going to talk about is Gremlins, made in the 80s, of course. We all know the story. Well, if you haven't watched Gremlins, you're an uncultured swine and get off of this podcast right now. No, I'm kidding. Please stop. Um, but yeah, it's basically about a kid who, well, not a kid. Basically, a father buys a birthday present. I think no, a Christmas present for his son, and it was actually off limits. But the Asian kid was like very insistent, like, "Hey, we should. I'm gonna give it to you," and explain that it's a Mogwai. Explains the rules like don't feed it after midnight, don't give it water, and of course, make it avoid bright lights and whatnot. So it's a definitely a fun movie, I believe so. Because it has the element of funny horror, even though it's like it's not considered horror. I can see why it's horror because when those mogwais get wet, like they turn a little ugly. Like I can see that, but most of the time, like these the gremlins are like super like funny, and they want to do is cause mayhem, just destroy things, and eat after midnight. And then I think that's something that we relate. It resonates in all of us.
yes. Oh yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm definitely a midnight snacker, so I'm like I would immediately be turning into a gremlin.
It's
We're all
almost like he
gremlins.
just yeah, I like it reminds me of kids a lot. It really does. It's almost like he had kids and he's like, oh my God, they're little gremlins. Oh my God, I'm gonna do a movie. It was like that type of stuff. Don't beat him after midnight. Don't go wild.
Like yeah, it's definitely one of those funny things too of like like this is what happens if you try to like stay up and like eat something where you're not at the time you're not supposed to, you're gonna turn into a gremlin.
Oh yes,
One
definitely.
of those old folk tales that you tell your kids just to scare them into not doing anything.
Exactly. Plus, I think it would be really
Mhm.
funny too. Of like, it's really interesting. It could also kind of show you like how to take care of a pet. You're like, oh, like you're supposed to feed them, but you're also like supposed to follow the instructions of like what they tell you to do.
Oh yeah. I think that's definitely showing some discipline. But would you actually like show your kids gremlins? Or like what time would you guys start? I know that Patty has kids, so she could probably answer this, but hypothetically, I think I would introduce them by like 10 years old if it was me.
Well, I'm kind of crazy, so I would show him earlier. Like my son, my 2-year-old is fearless. No matter what I put, he just sits there and watches it and never gets scared. So I guess maybe it would more so depend on the kid themselves. Like I put Jaws the other day because my stepdaughter's never seen Jaws, and now she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna get scared." Now she's terrified to go in the damn pool. So I guess more so it just depends on the child.
Yeah.
But I'm crazy, so my kids just watch all that stuff. But now, like the crazier horror movies, I'll be like, no, 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 I'm gonna watch it when you go to bed. But the Gremlins, I didn't feel it was like too scary for mine, at least.
Okay, that's fair. Gremlins is a definitely a great movie, especially like I think it's the kitchen scene where they're all like causing mayhem, or when they all go to the bar. That's also a really fun one. Um, especially when they're like partying it up, and there's like the female gremlin. Oh my gosh, I love that movie so much. When I
I
introduced
love.
it to one of my best friends, she said that literally that movie all they ever did was like bully Gizmo, which I felt so bad for. I'm like, yeah, they kind of did, but he persevered in the end, so that's the good thing about it.
Oh yes, I love Gizmo. I have Gizmo next to me all the time.
Yeah, I had the Gizmo that sings, but it stopped moving. It just sings now, but it's okay.
Oh, but at least it sings. You can play
Yeah,
it like a lullaby to go to sleep.
yeah, it's loud though.
I went to Walmart and they just kept clicking the toy, so I kept hearing it nonstop. I was like, okay, time to stop now. Pretty loud.
All right. So enough of Gremlins. Let's move on to our next one. We are gonna go to Goosebumps. I personally have never seen Goosebumps, the television series. Have you?
I've seen a few episodes here and there, but like when I was growing up, my parents were very religious, so I was not allowed to watch certain things. So yeah, I had to only watch it when I would go to like friend's house or something. So I didn't really see all of it.
Yeah,
I've seen the movies though.
yeah, I've seen the movies for Goosebumps, but I actually never. I mean, well, how I would describe Goosebumps is like a kids friendly version of Creepshow. I think that's the best way I can actually describe it. Um, it's more cheesy with a little. I mean, it has the like scary elements to it, but it's just something that never caught my eye growing up for sure.
Yeah, it wasn't really a scary type thing. It's more
Yeah.
like a storytelling thing. Like, oh, what if this happens?
Yeah, I think for me I watched Goosebumps Don't Think About It, which has it stars Emily Osment, and it kind of does like a thing where it's kind of like the Babadook, like you're not supposed to be reading the book or discussing like or thinking about whatever they're reading about kind of thing. You're not supposed to read it out loud. And yeah, it's actually a pretty gruesome movie if you really like have seen the Don't Think About It series for Goosebumps. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't. That's probably the only other Goosebumps movie that I've seen though.
Oh yeah, I've only really seen the TV series, and then I saw like the live action one that came out with Jack Black.
That's more funny
Yeah.
than anything.
Yeah, I just really liked how they showed all of the creatures from the books.
Oh, I
That's
forgot
fair.
they had books.
Yeah, I forgot they have books too. I think Goosebumps is one of those things, like I said, that just never caught my interest growing up. So
Mm. Yeah, I know. I used to read them all the time because my library had like a huge collection of Goosebumps books, so I would just read them all the time.
Were the books better than the series and the movie?
Um, some of them were different because like a lot of the episodes for the show went off the books, but like once they kind of ran out of books to go through, they just started making their own stuff. And those were interesting. They weren't as scary. They were more like kind of Twilight Zone-ish, where they had like little twist endings.
Mm. Where you're like, what happened? What?
Yeah. Like I remember this one that was like this kid that was at a summer camp and he was being like I think he was being like chased by monsters or something like that. I don't remember like the details of it. But then like at the end they were like, "Oh, like I'm glad you passed the test. You'll be ready now." And then like they pan up and they show you the planet Earth. So you're like, "Oh wait, there were aliens?"
Hmm. That sounds crazy.
Yeah. But anyway, outside of Goosebumps, another live action. I think this is one of my favorite like kid-friendly horror movies, and that would be The Addams Family.
Yes. Yes.
Especially because Gomez and Morticia are like pure relationship goals.
You can say that again.
Like,
Anyone that loves horror movies, they're like, that's what I want.
yeah,
That's
pretty
how we're
much.
gonna be.
Yeah, especially like the whole family in both the movies. They were cast so well.
Oh yeah, they were. I loved it. I still watch that movie all the time.
Yeah, I need to get them on like DVD or Blu-ray because I used to have them on VHS and I used to watch them all the time. But once we got rid of our VHS collections, I never rebought it for any other like format, so I definitely need to watch them again.
I think it was on Netflix at
I
some
think
point.
yeah, I think they were 'cause I remember that's the last time I saw them was on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've funny enough, I always like the second one better, the one where Fester gets married and like the lady tries to kill him, but she can never do it.
I love that one. It really
Like
shows like them gold digging type of women. Be like, but I don't
yeah.
care after you yourself.
Like she like blows him up and still doesn't die. Like she throws the TV into the bathtub and he still doesn't die.
Yeah, that's funny. It just comes up with the light bulb, like, hey,
Yeah.
that was a good idea.
And not to mention, like I loved seeing Wednesday and Pugsley in just a regular summer camp because they were just so different.
Stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
Even though they were meant to look like everybody else, but they still had that grim feeling to them.
Especially when they put Wednesday next to that little blonde girl, and like they're talking about the CPR training or whatever it was, and the girl's like, "Oh, I want to be the victim," and Wednesday just like it's just like for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I
Don't do
remember
it.
that.
And she's like, "Yeah," she's like, "I want to play the victim," and Wednesday's like, "All your life."
Hmm.
And the like weirdly enough, the whole torture thing that they do where they just like put them into this cabin and lock them in and just like put Disney movies for them or something like that.
Oh my god.
That is so scary. It's like hearing Baby Shark on a replay type of stuff.
Jeez, yeah.
I'd be damned though of hearing Baby Shark like that, but it is what it is.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those like family movies. Like no matter what happens, your family's always gonna be there for you.
Have you guys seen the animated one?
I have not.
I have.
So literally the animated one is really weird. I think it's more based around Wednesday more than anything. Which is why I feel like they're even coming out with a series, I think. I could be wrong. But yeah, the animated movie is basically like how Wednesday like becomes friends with the girls in school, and then she slowly starts adding color to like her wardrobe, and her mom's like, "Oh, like this is not who you are," kind of thing. And like Wednesday starts putting flowers in her hair, and then she wears like things in different colors, and then her mom's like, "What the fuck," kind of thing. But then it's
Hmm.
all about like literally also they move into the neighborhood, and everybody that's like peppy and whatever is trying to like drive them out of town, but they all realize that their differences mean more, like accepting each other's differences mean more than just driving away each other kind of thing. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, like your differences make you you, make you unique, basically.
Like you don't have to be like everybody else.
God, don't be like everybody else.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it just because I remember seeing the trailers for it and like seeing who the voices were and I was like, geez, like this is like all stars. I was interested in it.
Yeah,
It's
definitely
pretty
whenever
cool
you
movie.
can, you should it's cheesy, but I feel like you'll enjoy it.
No, that's fine. I'm okay with
Hmm.
cheesy. Like you know what my taste in movies is like, so
Awful.
wow,
Oh
okay.
God.
Except horror films. He has great taste in horror films. Everything else god awful.
Jeez, okay, wow, thanks.
Rem Lazar, are you fucking serious?
Listen, Rem Lazar's is God, okay, I told you that already.
Y'all don't watch that, please. It's on YouTube, but please don't watch it.
You know, the more you tell people not to do something, the more they want to do it.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
a
gonna look it
shortened
up.
version of it. It's a shorter version of it.
Yeah, somebody posted a video of it. It's like an edited version that like trims a bunch of like the dumb scenes that are in there, like the overly long stuff.
Yeah. Still stupid. But anyway, let's continue. I think we are going to be talking about everybody's favorite. I think it's everybody's favorite. It's my favorite. We are going to be talking about Disney Channel's Hocus Pocus. So we all know that it has been confirmed that I think it was next year we are going to get a Hocus Pocus
Yes.
film.
Yes, next year.
So I'm surprised that Sarah Jessica Parker actually agreed to it, even though she had
Oh,
rejected
she
the
did?
idea. Oh, she's been rejecting the idea for years. She did not want to be a part of Hocus Pocus again, but she knows that Hocus Pocus is making mad money now. So she finally agreed to it, and all the original cast is coming back, and I feel like they're all gonna come back as adults. And so yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. And yeah, so other than that, you guys should just watch out for the news for that. But we are going to be talking about the original 1993 Hocus Pocus, where we actually have, their favorite witches from Salem, Massachusetts, and some dumb virgin that lit the black candle, and everything went haywire. So
Yeah,
My
I
favorite is
would.
Virgin.
It's funny because that would be like the one you would show like a maybe like a 12 or 13-year-old. So be like, don't do what your friends tell you to do type thing. Like if your friends
Hmm.
jumped off a building, would you do it?
Yeah, but it's like there's a lot of adult content in Hocus Pocus, especially like when Danny mentions yabos and they're talking about girl's chest, and then whatchamacallit, virgins. Kids don't know what virgins are nowadays. But they know it. I mean, I'd be surprised. Gen Z is knowing a lot, and it's kind of a little scary. Especially with the bus driver also like making a
Oh my
comment about
god,
making babies with
the
them.
bus driver.
Yeah, so a lot of adult content. Just saying.
It does in a weird way that like kids would not notice, but adults are like, "What did they just say? What did they just
Yeah,
do?"
as long as the kid doesn't ask, I guess it's okay.
Yeah, because
Right.
it even has like those jokes that are like just for the adults, like the whole thing about when they go to the party and the mom is dressed up as Madonna.
Mm-hmm.
That was funny.
Lord, that scene throws me off every time, and I'm like, this was on Disney.
With like the
This is
giant
supposed
like
to.
cone boot, like bra and
Oh
everything.
my gosh. I'm surprised that they. Oh my god. I'm surprised that there's not an edited version of them shaving that shit down, you know? Like, oh, well. But, but other than that, other than the adult jokes, it is definitely a great movie, like Yusuf said, of not being, like, giving into peer pressure, not doing what your friends, are pressuring you to do. And we do realize, it's all about teamwork, the power of family, that kind of thing. A lot of jokes, and especially with the witches. The witches were probably my favorite part of the movie, and especially Sarah Sanderson, and also Mary Sanderson, just because she's like, I smell children. And of course, Sarah Sanderson's "Amok, Amok, Amok," and many of the most quotable things in that movie that comes along.
I also do love that the actress that played Mary, when she tweeted out, the announcement for it, that was her first thing. She was like, "I smell children again."
Yeah, she put
Oh.
dot 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 again. And I was like, oh god, it's exciting.
Right.
It was
So,
definitely an interesting movie.
Do you not like that movie, Patty?
But I don't love it, but I do like it.
Okay, that's fair.
moving on now. I think we've covered all of our animated movies and all of our live action movies. So we're going to be moving on to our TV shows.
That's right. So, there's probably a few that I have watched, a few that I have not experienced, but let's go down the list, shall we?
Yes. The first one here is one of my personal favorites. I grew up watching this show constantly, and that's Scooby Doo.
Scooby Doo never dies.
Scooby
That
Doo
show
probably
will live
won't
on
never.
forever.
I just wish some other shows lived as long as Scooby Doo did, but Scooby Doo actually definitely deserves that title, especially being amazing as it is, especially teaching us that the real monsters are humans. So definitely teaches some logic behind that. Good influences on children, especially with the friendship and whatnot, and also there's some hidden messages sometimes for the adults, for those stoners out there. Is you know what I mean? But
Yes.
yeah, no, Scooby snacks. Always down for a snack.
Yeah, I
And
remember
all
I
the stuff they
like every time I went to the supermarket and I saw Scooby snacks, I would beg my parents to be like, "Please buy Scooby snacks for me."
I
They
love
asked,
those.
they had Scooby snacks.
Yeah, they were like they still sell them. They're like little like
Yeah.
cinnamon cookies almost, like cinnamon graham
Oh,
cookies. They're really, really good.
oh, I thought there was like, wait, aren't those for dogs? And y'all are just begging your parents for dog food?
No, no, they
Oh God.
I was like, I'm concerned. Like, I love the show as much as y'all, but y'all need some help.
I was like, yeah, let me get the Purina. It's like
Purina, man. Yo, you'll lose mad weight real quick, honestly.
But yeah, I totally agree with your sentiments there of like the real world lessons of it, and I think it's also just like the timelessness of it because like obviously it's a show that was made back in the '60s, and there's the newer versions now, but if you still watch the older versions, they still hold up pretty well. Like they're still funny and relevant today.
Oh,
They are.
absolutely. And to the point that they had to make live actions even afterwards, and they still are amazing. Still trying to petition Universal to make a Skull Island, please. Um, I think it was Skull Paradise Island. I forgot what it was called. But yeah, it's still like Scooby Doo is definitely something that's timeless and will like, just we always loved the gang and we always aspire to have friends kind of like Fred, Daphne, Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby. So
Yeah,
Yeah, they were more
especially
than just friends. They were like a big family. They're like, oh, we'll ignore everyone. It's all us now.
yeah, it was definitely like a fun little like friend aspect of like when you find those friends, you're like these are these this is my mystery gang.
Hmm.
But anyway, what is our next show? Whoever would like to discuss that one.
Uh,
the Grim
I know
Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
yeah, that was one of the stuff that I really was not allowed to watch as a child.
It was dark. It was a more modern take on horror, but definitely dark. A lot of aspects of hell, death, a lot of sexuality, lots of. It reminded me if like Courage and Cowardly Dog and Invader Zim had a baby. That's basically how I would describe the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, especially since Invader Zim also had some gruesome aspects to it.
It did.
Yeah, like what I liked about Billy and Mandy is that it explored like different aspects of horror in a kid-friendly way.
Yeah.
Like I remember that one kid that had like dark hair, and turns out that he was just a body because like the inside of him was like this Lovecraftian like tentacle monster.
Oh yeah, I think I kind of remember that episode.
And I don't know why, but I also love the fact that they made death Jamaican.
Oh yeah.
I love that. Oh, that was the best thing they did.
Yeah. And I think the one thing that they reference to is like the episode where Grim falls in love with like that one girl that kind of looks like Morticia Adams, and they just freaking like kiss in the rain, and they have like a whole Morticia and like oh my god, what's the other guy's name? Oh,
Gomez.
like Gomez's like moment, and like and they kiss in the rain, and they have like a little disco dance kind of thing. And I think that was like one of my favorite episodes, especially like when they also like start ripping each other's faces off and you see their skulls. I'm like, yep, this is a kid show. We love that.
I
Yeah,
think
it
I just
really
love.
it really like pushed the envelope as to like how far they could go for a kids show.
For for a more modern take, I feel like there's a show way worse that was on the market for that.
Probably. That's why I was not allowed to watch this show. And you guys make me want to rewatch it now. Like I've seen a few episodes, but I didn't see like everything.
Yeah, I remember watching it quite a bit when I was a kid, and like I remember really liking the kids, like Billy and Mandy, because I was like, man, I could relate to both of them because I was like, man, I'm pretty dumb, just like Billy. But then I was also kind of like deadpan and like kind of annoyed all the time at like the same as Mandy.
Yeah, Billy was a kind of special someone though. Like, and I related to Mandy most of the time. There's some days I'm like, damn, Billy needs to just shut up,
Like
please.
Mandy did not take any shit from anybody.
Remember when Mandy turned girly? Yeah, that was scary enough.
This was like some alien or something. You're just like, what? You're human? Where'd you come from? How do you think these ways?
Yeah, I don't remember who made that show. I just remember it being like kind of a huge thing at the time because like there have been like dark shows and stuff, but like to the point where Billy and Mandy good like went was a little bit different.
Hmm. Interesting.
But
Yeah, but
I
now
think
that we have covered Billy and Mandy, let's actually go
oh
to the
god.
actual horrors that gave a gateway to this basically the realm of horror in kids shows, which is of Living Nightmares, but it was my favorite show of all time, kids show of all time,
Mine
other than
too.
SpongeBob, is The Courage of Cowardly Dog. So yeah, this show was everything in the worst and best way possible. Um, Basically, as you guys know from the opening, there is two elderly people who live in the middle of nowhere. Muriel. Yeah, so Muriel has a dog named Courage, and then she lives with her husband Eustace, and yeah, they live in the middle of nowhere, and they get to encounter all kinds of monsters and terrible things out in the middle of nowhere. Courage takes all the shit that comes at them, trying to save Muriel half the time. I feel like half the time he doesn't give a fuck about Eustace, but he kind of has to do something about it because
Right.
that's Muriel's husband. But yeah, it's literally all kinds of creepy monsters, all kinds of horror stuff. It is literally a show for kids, but made of nightmares.
It used to give me nightmares.
Yeah, same here. Like that show traumatized me for quite a while.
Yeah, but I never got tired of it. So, what's this
Oh yeah.
episode that scared you guys the most?
Huh. You gotta really think about that.
For me, hands down, it's the Curse of Ramses. Definitely made of nightmares. I still have dreams of like I have to return the plaque or I have to suffer his curse kind of thing.
Oh, like
It's
the
just the
slab,
way,
right?
yeah, like literally, like the way it's animated is so freaking creepy and it's
Yeah,
weird and
because like everything else was like 2D animated, but like Ramses was like 3D animated for some weird reason.
yeah, and he moved really creepy and the voice was oh my god.
Return the
Slab
slab.
or suffer my curse. And I would love the fact that, after, Courage tries to like save basically the whole entire family, he's always consulting his computer and his computer's always insulting him like I'm not a genius, stupid. And then he's like, what is like basically treating it like Google kind of thing, like Courage had Alexa before all of us did, honestly.
Oh God, yes. Alexa slash Google.
Yeah, because he
That
was
was
like,
the original Google.
he was always like, "How do I beat this thing?"
I don't know. I'm not a mind reader.
Right? Figure something out. I'm just here to talk to you.
Yeah, another one of my favorites is when they had the barber that always said, "Oh, everything's quite naughty." Like that show
Oh
was
God, I
very
remember that.
Oh,
Jeez.
like literally when every time Courage will open a door, like more oddities and creepy designs would come out, and I was like, "Damn!" Like people really animated this. Like they were trying to give kids some nightmares today.
Oh, sorry
I
about that. I had
mean,
to
they
sneeze.
succeeded.
Yeah. And of course, the red cat that appears every so often in the show that always wants to That character was a little rapey towards Muriel. Not gonna lie, it was a little rapey, but that's it.
What it was it that space duck?
Oh, that one too. He was a little rapey. But the red cat was like literally the worst. Like he was always trying to do some things with Muriel. I was like, ah, that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think Courage the Cowardly Dog is still on HBO Max, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, it is because I started watching it on there.
Hell yeah.
Oh, I gotta go and watch it again.
So I don't remember like specific monsters or like creatures, but the one that always stood out for me was this weird episode where it was this guy that had like a tower. Like he like lived in this tower that moved, and like he would shoot cannonballs at people, and they would like make them depressed.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember being like really weirded out by it because like he was depressed, so he was like, I gotta make everybody else depressed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And like literally his only friend was like a rat, I think.
Oh damn. I kind of
He
need
was
a little
lonely.
refresher. Loneliness is a real thing.
Talk to my rats.
But yeah, like I feel like Courage the Cowardly Dog is a gateway drug to kids' horror shows. Yay!
Yeah,
I
it's
think that's what
definitely
got me interested in horror movies and horror stuff in general.
it's definitely like that one horror show for kids that you're like, how did this get made? How is this for kids? But at the same
Yes.
time, it's like innocent enough where a kid could watch it.
Are you talking about Courage the Cowardly
Yeah,
Dog? Honestly,
Mhm.
like it was a different time. It was just a different time. Right
true. I
now,
mean, this
everybody's
was
freaking sensitive nowadays because you put that shit in the TV right now, instant cancel. But honestly,
Yeah.
we were a different breed, and I definitely like I appreciate that show for what has
yeah.
become, and I'm surprised people still remember it. So
It's definitely. I mean, it definitely came out in that same era of like those '90s like Nick shows that were all over the place, like Rocco, like Rocco's Modern Life. There is an episode
Oh,
where
yes.
this like frog lady that's married propositions Rocco for sex, and it's just like,
Orange he gets paid to do phone sex. It's like oh baby,
yeah,
oh
it's just like,
baby.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I remember now.
yeah. And even shows like like Cow and Chicken, like that show had like a literal devil with like, and it had a booty.
Oh my God, it did.
to be fair, everything that show had a booty.
That's true.
Yeah, but some were a bit extra.
Yeah, it went a little overboard sometimes, but like it was still really, really good.
It was. God, the shit that we used to watch when we were kids.
We fucked up individuals. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, that's why we crazy now.
So we kind of already talked about our other TV show because it was Goosebumps.
Yeah, we kind of touched a little bit of bases on there.
Yeah. So I think we can move on from that one since we already kind of discussed it. But our next show, this is actually a show that I have not seen.
Me
Uh,
neither.
I've only seen like bits and pieces of it on YouTube, and it looks really, really good. Right now, I think the only way you can find it is like through online places that you can only watch cartoons on because like it's not on any streaming service. But that
Oh,
is Beetlejuice the animated series.
I still want to watch it. I haven't seen a lick of it, and I want to try and watch it whenever I can.
I just vaguely remember that show.
Yeah, like
Like
I
I
was
used to watch it at the end or at the very beginning and have to like move on to something else.
like I when I was like reading up about it, it's kind of like a weird like alternate timeline version of Beetlejuice where Lydia is kind of like friends with him, and literally they just go on adventures together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think
fine.
I feel like I know that a lot of people tend to dress up from the animated series, especially the Lydia with the iconic little spider web cape that she has. And yeah, like it's definitely looks good, and I wish that, whenever I find it, I want to watch it because it looks really good. And we definitely need it back or somewhere like a remake of it for sure, because especially since now Beetlejuice is booming again out of nowhere. Like if you guys have not realized, there has been new purses, new merch coming out for Beetlejuice, and not just from Universal, just anywhere now.
Yeah, I think a lot of it kind of has to do with like the musical that came out because it kind of reminded people of Beetlejuice.
They just needed to keep the musical in general. Like it did not need to end like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, 'cause didn't it get like taken off or like canceled or something like that?
It got because another Broadway musical bought it off. Like another
Ooh,
like a permission kind of thing. It was doing well, don't get me wrong. I was supposed to watch it when I went to New York, but my dumbass fucking chose Lion King. It was still good, but now I feel like I regret it and I needed to go watch Beetlejuice instead. But yeah, another musical company bought it, and they basically told them to roll out, and the pandemic didn't make it any better for them,
mm-hmm.
but
Yeah, that's true.
No, that ruined everything for everyone.
we can't have nice things anymore.
Nope, we really can't. But yeah, that's definitely one of
That's
those shows that I've never seen, but I really, really want to watch just to like kind of get a slice of like that little time of when every movie or everything had to get like a cartoon show with it.
Yeah,
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 like
that was a time to
Ghostbusters
be.
and yeah, it was like Ghostbusters and Men in Black. They had their own little animated series after the movies.
Yeah. And even like for some reason, even like the 90s version of Godzilla had like its own TV show.
It's a
I don't
they were
like
gonna
a lot of things from the 90s, but definitely movie wise, I wish I had appreciated it more for sure.
yeah, those movies are really good. I stick with 80s and like early 90s though.
Yeah, same here.
Right, but I definitely think we have discussed everything that we had. Yeah, everything we had on our list.
Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
there's plenty more horror shows out there, but we basically covered the most popular ones. Unfortunately, we were not fortunate enough to watch the Beetlejuice one, but I'm pretty sure some of us will find it and we'll probably come back and watch it and talk about it later in another podcast. But yeah,
Oh yes.
that was everything. And Patty also is loves horror kid movies, so definitely it was definitely more of her tea, but
Oh yes. I gotta get my kids into horror. I can't just watch it by myself. But I know you're my children. You getting into this, so we gonna watch it every day.
yeah, that's the way to raise your child nowadays.
Yeah, it's definitely how I'm gonna
I'm
raise
just
my future
crazy.
children.
Do it. Just do it.
Before we end the episode, we do have to do our basic housekeeping stuff. So we will start with Vanya. Vanya, where can you be found?
I can be found on Twitter and YouTube on basically HHN Cultist. On both of those, I do makeup vlogs and discuss anything Universal and Halloween Horror Nights related. So if you think that you're interested in that, stop on by and give me some support. I'll follow back.
Excellent. And what about you, Patty?
For me, basically, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. It's the same thing. It is Dark Kitty Love, but with just one K, not two, because it looks retarded. In my Instagram, mainly it's more of my photography type stuff, but like on Facebook, that's where you'll see more of, theme parks and Halloween horror night type stuff there. Just anything I find, I'll be like, here you go.
So yeah, definitely check both of them out, both Vanya and Patty. And then for our podcast, we are on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. And we do have a couple of things up on YouTube already. I'm currently doing a playthrough of Resident Evil Village, which is a really good game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really stressing out over it. And
need
I
to.
do have, yeah, it's really good. And then I'm in the middle of editing another video that's coming up pretty soon. That one I'm keeping under wraps. I've done like little hints and bits and pieces here and there, but I don't want to reveal too much until I actually drop the video. But anyway, on my personal stuff, you can find me, or actually no, continue with the podcast. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Sounds from the Grave. And now for my personal stuff. You can find me on Twitter at itbeyusef, on YouTube as just my name, Yussef, and on Instagram as Yussef1220.
Yep, so just follow all of us and, give us some support. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I certainly enjoyed it. I hope that Patty had fun.
I did. I was like super nervous, but excited and having fun.
Yeah, it's all about discussing and, just having fun with it and talk about what we love, anything that we're passionate about.
Yes, it was definitely fun, for sure.
Yeah, we had a really good time doing this, and we were very happy that you were our first guest. And at some point or another, we'd love to have you back.
Oh, I would love to join. No doubt about that. I don't mind my weirdness. Vanya knows me. I am very weird.
No, you're fine, girl. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Stay spooky. So I am signing off.
And as am I.
And see you guys later.
See y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, bye.